What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and instead of talking specifically about photography, videography, and other creative arts, I'm going to give you guys 5 reasons why your craft won't grow in 2023. Now, that kind of sounds bleak, saying that you're not going to grow in 2023, but reality is that is kind of clickbait, because what we're really going to talk about today is things that can keep you from growing in 2023. And I'm going to give you guys some nuggets to hopefully help jumpstart some growth and help 2023 become your best year yet. Now, I'm going without a script today, so I have some notes that I will be referencing throughout, but this is going to be definitely more of an organic video rather than the scripted stuff that you guys have been seeing over the past little while on this channel. So sorry if I ramble a little too much, but this is an area that I am passionate in, and so I hope that you guys are able to get something from this, and if you like it, then maybe we do some more videos like this in the future. But I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to jump into our first reason, which is stop making resolutions and start setting goals. From the surface level, resolutions and goals definitely look very similar, but I promise there is a big difference. Now, a resolution is kind of an absolute statement that we make, like, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to stop eating bad. Whereas a goal is something that we want to achieve. It also sets how we're going to achieve that, and it gives us a timeline in doing all of that. Studies have shown that 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. Now, that's a large percentage of people who are failing achieving what they want to achieve for that upcoming year. And the reason is because there is no path for them to follow to continue achieving that statement that they made at the start of the year. So let's start talking about how to actually set a goal. Now, a goal should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, it should be reasonable, and it should be timely. This is what is called a SMART goal. Now, I'm certain if you guys have had any type of education in setting goals, you have heard of the SMART goals like I just talked about. And they kind of are cheesy, but really it is helpful to look at it, setting a goal through this lens, because it does give you all of the check boxes that you need to be able to achieve a goal. Now, for those of you who don't know, my background actually is more into the coaching world. I come from golf coaching. So a lot of my education and a lot of the things that I've learned and practiced for the last years of my life, we're looking at how to maximize people's potential and to help them achieve goals. And during my time, I had the ability to work with the beginner players all the way up to touring professionals. And the thing that always stuck out to me between the difference of the two spectrums wasn't physical ability, but rather the ability to set good goals. A lot of the times when I would get a student that was a 20 handicapper or a typical weekend warrior golfer, not amazing, and wanted to get better because they enjoyed the game, their goal setting was really crap. They would come to me and they would usually always say in our initial meeting, a conversation, that they just want to become more consistent. And as I grew as a coach, they would come to me and say, hey, I just want to be more consistent. I would say, well, congrats, you are consistent. You consistently suck. And most of the time I would get a weird look from them. But what I would do is I would then go there and tell them, hey, that isn't a good goal. Just saying, I want to be more consistent. That's more like a resolution, right? That's just saying, I want to be X. There's no idea in their mind on how they want to achieve that, or what is actually really holding them back from being consistent. So that's where we would start asking questions. Okay, how do you drive the ball? Do you putt it well? How's your course management? We'd start breaking their game apart to figure out really where is the problem. And then from there, we would set goals. So let's say, for example, most of them can't keep the driver in the fairway. So we would say, hey, let's set a goal of being able to hit, say on average you hit 14 drivers in a round of golf. Let's say we would hit 9 of our fairways. Now that's a pretty high percentage, but it's at least now something that we can look at and we can practice towards, rather than just saying, I want to be more consistent. It's saying, hey, I want to drive the ball better because I want to become a better player. That is just kind of an analogy of what it would look like to set a goal for yourself. In more specific terms for the creative arts side of things, let's say you're a photographer or videographer watching this. Well, what is something that you think is really holding you back, right? Be analytical with yourself. Look at what you think would help you grow. Start creating what a picture would look like for you to achieve that desired outcome, right? It's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable. It's got to be achievable. It has to be realistic. And then it needs to be in a timely manner. Now, there are 2 different types of goals that you can set. You can set a long-term goal or you can set a short-term goal. I would suggest finding what long-term goal would be, and then having a subset of short-term goals that are working you towards that long-term goal. So jumping back into my golf analogy, if I would have a high school student or younger student come up to me and say, hey, I want to play on the PGA Tour or LPGA Tour someday, that's a great goal to have. Now, realistically, they're not going to be playing on the PGA Tour within the next year. So what we would do from there is we would set a list of goals to achieve as milestones for them to achieve towards reaching that final goal. It's like momentum building for you. Now, the last thing I'm going to leave for you on this first point is that in failure, goals still have value. Now, because a resolution is like an absolute statement we're making, it's easy for us to beat ourselves up when we fail. I say, I'm going to eat healthier in 2023. Well, as soon as I don't eat healthy, I don't have anything else, right? If I set a goal of saying, I want to get in shape this next year, well, when I have one of those pitfalls and I fail, inevitably it's going to happen. Well, as long as I've been going through the process of achieving my goal, even though I failed, like I had all of that process beforehand. There was a lot of learning and growth that happened. Goals really set us up for success, both in succeeding and in failure, which to me, that maximizes our time and maximizes our growth potential. Now, the second reason that you are not going to grow in 2023 is because your practice is poor.
We're talking about practice, man.
And yes, we are talking about practice. Now, this is something we probably never really think about as a creative because, well, there's really not a way for us to practice per se. Like in sports, you actually have scheduled practice that you're going to. Well, I want to challenge your mindset on that because there is ways for us to find practice opportunities, and that is really going to help you jumpstart your growth. So the main reason that I see people struggle with practice is it is not measurable, so it's not quantifiable, and they have no feedback process. Practice is supposed to help us grow and learn new skills, but without quantifiable feedback, how do we know we're achieving those skills? Now, I don't have all the answers for you on this right now, but what I can do is try to spark your curiosity for you to try to find some of these areas for yourself, right? Maybe it's going onto a forum, or maybe it's finding a group of friends that look at your images who are going to give you feedback on those said images. There's a bunch of different ways that you can go about looking for this. But finding somewhere to have feedback and quantifiable feedback, like this is great, but you still need to have something that you're practicing and working towards, which goes back to our goals. So maybe your goal this year is that you want to be able to create more moody, dramatic contrast within your photography editing. Well, challenge yourself to come up with some games in the post-processing room that utilize different techniques of adding that contrast, and maybe produce 3 or 4 of those images and send it out to a forum or to some friends like we talked about, or whatever your feedback loop is, and make notes on the feedback that comes back. From there, go through that process again. That practice is going to help you start to develop your skills and create new opportunities for growth. Here's another example for you guys on something that I call block practice and random practice. Now, block practice is something that actually is what we use, or what I've used in the past, to teach somebody a new skill. It's where we're going to sit there and do that skill over and over and over and over again to really try and develop that muscle memory. Now, random practice then takes that skill and puts it to the test. Now, this is going to be kind of a dumb example, but again, I'm just trying to spark your curiosity here. I'm not trying to give you all of the answers, but one way that you could practice block and random is this. Let's say that you want to, in 2023, become a better astrophotographer. Well, that means you need to know how to operate your camera efficiently in the pitch dark. So let's practice operating our camera. Maybe we're sitting on the couch and we practice going through our different menus and getting to our different settings, right? We just keep practicing that over and over again. And then we decide, hey, I want to test it. So then you go to a room where you can turn off all the lights and make it pitch dark. Well, then from there, you practice operating in the dark. Now it's your random practice. Well, if you have any type of failure, say you can't find a menu within a certain time frame, or you're struggling moving around the camera, well, maybe then you go back to your block practice and practice navigating the camera in the light again. Now, again, this sounds silly, but this type of mindset and approach is going to help you grow and develop those skills that you don't have right now. And then the fun part of it is coming up with your own games and your own solutions. Finding areas that you need to grow in and coming up with a unique way to practice that. There's growth in that. Again, we're working towards our goal. Everything working up to that point is valuable, and the fact that you are trying and moving towards it means you're growing. So the third reason that your growth is going to be stinted in 2023 is because of bad gas. And I don't mean actual gas. What I mean is gear acquisition syndrome. Now, gear is not a bad thing. I think getting gear, and new gear especially, does help spark creativity. It does give you an excuse to want to go out and shoot more or create something. And oftentimes too, new gear opens up new opportunities and new possibilities because your old gear was holding you back. What I mean by this, that gas is going to hold you back, is first off, we tend to hide behind our gear. It gives us a false sense of confidence in ourselves and our abilities. So what I mean by that is you see a video or you see a photo and you just think in your mind that, oh, the only reason I can't create that is because I don't have the gear they have. Where realistically, they're probably using gear not as good as yours, and they just have put the time and the time in to develop the skills to create that look rather than focusing so much on their gear. And they got real with themselves when they weren't as good and wanted to develop, so they set goals and achieved those goals, and now they became better. So don't hide behind your gear. Your gear is good enough. If you want to be able to achieve something, find the skills and achieve those skills. Gear can only take you so far. Yes, it's important, but it can also be a crutch. And then the second issue with gas is we start focusing on consuming rather than creating. We sit looking at our computer, watching all the latest gear tutorials, figuring out who our favorite photographer or videographer, what gear they're using, getting on the forums and arguing about which is better, Canon or Sony, rather than getting out and shooting and creating. Don't be a consumer, be a creator. Don't hide behind your gear. Understand that it's you that is making the image. The gear is just a tool. So we need to develop ourselves and refine ourselves. And once we start doing that, we're going to start growing. And yes, at some point, a new piece of tech will help inspire you or will unlock new opportunities for you, but just don't hide behind it. So the fourth reason that I want to go over with you guys today and why 2023 might not yield the results you want is because your time management is whack. And by time management, I don't just mean how you manage your time out in the field or how you manage your time editing your photos. I just mean your time management in general. There is so much more that goes into creating a photo and a video consistently good than just having the skills and having the gear. You play a big part because you're the one behind the camera. You're the one in the editing room. So I'm going to go back to golf again. Sorry for those who aren't golfers. I'm trying to relate this at like a 30,000 foot view, but again, my background is in the coaching world in golf, so it's easy for me to relate to. But we used to do this thing with our players where we would ask them what they think playing good golf comes from. And so what we would have them do is draw a pie chart and divide up the areas that they think would make them play good golf. And typically they would have, 70% putting or 10% driving or, certain percentage of gym time, right? It would be all related to actually playing the game of golf. And the funny thing is, a lot of the times their performance really wasn't related to their skills and their abilities on the golf course. Their performance would come down to, okay, are they doing good in school? How's their family life? Are they in a relationship? Is that relationship doing okay? Have they been getting good sleep? Have they been eating well? All of these areas, if they sucked at managing their time in, their game would suffer. And typically those are areas that we don't really even look at when thinking about performance, right? And it's easy for us as photographers and creatives to think, well, what I ate that morning isn't going to affect how I'm going to create, but it really is. You think about that is if you didn't get a good night's sleep and now you're waking up for a sunrise shoot, well, maybe you're not thinking very clearly, and next thing you know, you're blowing your highlights, or you didn't really frame up a composition as well as you should have because your mind is not performing well. So I would encourage you in 2023 is to look at your life as in a holistic point of view, rather than having your pie chart be directed towards whatever you're creating. Think about how everything else is influencing your creative ability. Are you taking time to rest properly? Are you taking time to work on yourself? Are you taking time to exercise? How are you eating? How are you sleeping, right? All of these are going to play a part in your photography, videography skills, and the consistent growth that you're hoping to achieve in 2023. So I'll leave you with this on this point is a balanced life is going to equal consistent creative. Again, a balanced life is going to equal consistent creative. And if you think I'm full of it, try it. Write it out. Find what you think your pie chart would be. Be realistic with yourself and start setting goals in those areas and see how your creative abilities grow and flourish. And the last point I'm going to leave you guys is the reason you won't grow is you are afraid to invest in yourself. Now you might be thinking, what the heck do you mean by that? You just said, hey, don't consume more than you're creating. And that is true. But it is important to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself can look so different depending on which area you're investing in. Remember, going back to that performance pie, it's more than just creating art. Right? You need to be working on everything else in your life. So maybe that's, hey, my neck has been super tight, and because I'm at an editing computer all day, maybe I need to invest in a better chair to be more comfortable. Or maybe I need to invest in a chiropractic session to make sure my body is feeling good. Maybe you actually do need to invest in some learning and some education. So maybe you buy courses, or maybe you sit in on a webinar, right? Don't be afraid to spend time investing in yourself. I know a lot of you probably know that because that's why you're watching this video. It's important to learn and want to grow. I intentionally put this last because if you don't have all the other pieces that we talked about in place and in the line, investing in yourself really is going to be, it's not going to be as beneficial as if you are setting good goals, you are practicing better, you are making sure that you're not blaming gear, that you're looking at yourself and being intentional with yourself. You are making sure that your time management in all areas of your life is working efficiently. When you do all of that and then put an investment on yourself and use your time to, or resources or money or whatever to invest in your betterment, it's going to allow for that seed to grow. So I hope you guys maybe took something away from this and that you're able to apply some of these concepts or look into new ways to think about these concepts if you've already known about them before. And I hope that 2023 really is your best year yet, that you really do see the growth, you do accomplish the goals you want to accomplish, and that if you're in the business world of this, that your business flourishes, right? I really do hope for the best for you guys this next year. So I know I'm really excited for 2023. 2022 was, I grew this last year, but it was definitely a rough year in my personal life and in other areas. So I'm looking forward to the challenges 2023 brings. And I will personally be applying a lot of these concepts. These are things that I've used in my life the past 5 years, and I'm going to continue to use them. So I also look forward to this next year on sharing more content with you guys. If you guys like this style of video more, let me know down in the comment section. Make sure you hit the like button when you're down there, and don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. When you do hit that, might as well hit the bell icon when you're down there too, so you can be notified when I post other videos. I'm gonna try to do one a week. That's my goal for 2023. And if you guys enjoy, again, this more performance mindset side, we're also gonna be doing some more business stuff this year. Lots of new things on the horizon. Now for me, this was really hard because I didn't have a script. I like to read from a script, but so this might have been a little all over the place. We'll see when I get in the editing room. I might make myself crazy, but that's it. I will see you guys in 2023.